Hi guys, welcome to our second ingredient box from Wilson's Ingredients. We've had such an amazing response on the first one and we're super excited to be moving forward with this. Today we're going to be cooking a dry aged saddleback pork chop for two. These pigs have come from Langoustine in Cornwall, outdoor, organic, dry aged specifically for us by our friends at Popty & Beast in St Werburgh's. In your bag this week we have got these phenomenal carrots, some wave mustard from our farm with some dill, a langoustine and pork mousse, a langoustine oil, a langoustine bisque over here, our own XO sauce, which is a Chinese style sauce that we make using trimmings from our own charcuterie and dried shellfish, so scallop in this instance. And on the side, just because it's you guys, we've got some amazing salami, which we made ourselves about 6 months ago using our own fennel seeds. And then this absolutely epic pork chop. We've got our amazing bag of ingredients. Let's go and cook them. All right guys, so a few bits and bobs it's always good to have. We're gonna need them for today. A roasting tray, a couple of pans. We've made a little steamer over here with a pot, a colander, and a lid that fits nice and snugly on top. Some butter, some salt. It's always good to have some lemons around. We have got one of these little hand blenders. These are great for making soups or just aerating a sauce or something. We use them in the restaurant. You can pick them up for a couple of quid at a supermarket if you can get out. So our first job is to roast our carrots. We're going to dress these with some vegetable oil and some salt and bake them in the oven for about half an hour. We're not going to add the langoustine oil yet. We're going to add that towards the end so it marinates the carrots and then finish it with some lovely dill. When you're prepping your carrots, like we did with the beetroots last week, we're always going to keep the tops. We're not actually going to use them for this dish, but you can pickle them or you can finely dice them and put them through a risotto or something. They're definitely worth hanging on to, but we don't really have a place for them in this dish. Get your roasting tray, pop your carrots in there. Now obviously the carrots are different sizes, they might cook a bit differently, but it's fine. We just want them all in there. Some of your vegetable oil. Liberal amount over the top, then a good amount of salt. Don't be shy with the salt, you've got to season the carrot throughout. So good amount, and then get your hands in there, move them around so the oil is completely covering the skin. This will help the carrots blister up. Okay, let's pop them in the oven, about half an hour. Maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit less, we'll see. Now on to pork chop. It's quite a hefty bit of meat, but it has been dry aged, so it's not going to take too long to cook. In the restaurant, we always serve our pork medium rare, so lovely and pink. We don't want to cook it all the way through because you're just ruining a product that is perfect. We're going to season the pork liberally, then try and crispen the skin up a bit, and we're going to colour it on both sides and finish it in the oven. So, good amount of salt on the flesh side. You almost want to be able to draw a smiley face when you move the salt out. Don't be shy with it. Other side as well. You can see the marbling in this flesh is really exquisite. Give the salt a rub in. Now the skin, it's difficult to actually get the salt into it. So we just give it a little rub. Don't worry about if there's not much salt on it. The salt actually acts as drying the skin out, so it crisps up when you're crackling the flesh. We're just gonna oil the skin a little bit of the pig, and then season it again. All right. The oil will help the heat travel around the skin and help the salt stick to the skin. Okay, let's go over. Pop a pan on the heat and let's get it going. Don't want it too hot. You don't want to scorch the skin, but you want to get a bit of heat in there nice and quickly. So pop him down, skin side, and really push. Try and get that skin as flat as it can go, like that. And because it's such a massive fat pork chop, it's not going to tipple over like that. When you're cooking bits of meat, you want to try and cook them on the bone because they keep moisture in, and you want to try and get a nice big one so you can have a perfect cuisson. Right, just going to keep an eye on it. It'll take as long as it takes. If you need to add a bit more lubrication to the pan, crack on. You'll hear it before you see it. So we're just going to check the top, make sure that it's not going too hard, because pork skin will burn and it's really, really not very delicious. So I can see the pan smoking away. Got it on quite a high heat. I'm just going to drop it down a little bit more gently like that. Check the pork chop. It's doing the right thing. It's back on the heat. We've reduced the heat a little bit. Add a little bit of oil to the pan. Move it around again. And now we're really cracking, okay? So that's just going to keep on going like that. Keeping an eye on it, making sure you're not burning it. Keep it moving if you have to, yeah? See how it's looking? It's starting to crackle up nicely there, yeah? Really good crackling takes a long time. You can't rush it. So I think we are nearly there, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. We're going to just colour both flesh sides. So we're going to pop the pan back on quite a high heat. If you can, you want to find yourself another roasting tray. You want it to be quite small because you want to try and stand the pork chop up when we're cooking it. So pan back onto a high heat. Wait for the pan to come up to temperature. You can't rush pan heats. They hold heat very well, but it can drop out. It takes them a little while to get back up to the velocity that you need to colour your meat beautifully. Okay, so now we're just going to colour the pork on both sides. So pop it down on the flesh side and move it around the base of the pan, yeah? Keep it going, keep it going. You want to do about 30 seconds of intense pork moving. We're looking to get that lovely, lovely caramelised, dark, golden brown colour on the flesh. By moving it around the pan, you're rubbing the sugars that caramelise onto the bottom of the pan back into the flesh. Getting there. A little bit longer. As I say, every bit of meat's different. Sometimes they'll caramelise quickly, especially if it's the outer bit that's been exposed to air. That'll caramelise really quickly. All right, how are we looking, best beloved? And there you go, look at that, stunning. On to the other side, repeat the process. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever you do, when you take this pork out of the pan to cook in the roasting tray, do not wash the pan out. It's full of deliciousness, salt, caramelised pork juice, and most importantly, pork fat, which is one of God's greatest gifts. So other side, beautifully caramelised. Now, very gently, use tongs if you need to. Pop it on the tray and try and make sure it stands up like that. Take your pan off the heat, pop it over there, turn off that. We're going to stick this in the oven. Now, I think we're looking at about 10 to 12 minutes, and then we're going to rest it for the duration, okay? So make sure it doesn't fall down when you pop it in the oven. And if you need to lean it up against the side, do. We're going to use the bone, which is obviously under here, to protect the flesh, so that the pork is not lying directly on very hot metal, which could overcook it. So, in the oven. Lovely. So, next we're going to just fill up our little steaming rig and get it ready to go. What I use in the restaurant are those Japanese bamboo steamers. They're fantastic. They're about £4 each, and you literally just pop them on top of a pot, and it's they're brilliant for steaming. I haven't got one of those here because I think most people don't. So we're going to use a simple colander and a lid to fit the pan. So do it yourself, DIY, combat catering, steaming rig. And next we're going to slice our salami. This salami is made by us. It's been cured with fennel seeds from our farm with 3% salt for about 4 months. With a knife, try and get a nice big sharp knife if you got it, and just take your time trying to get lovely thin slices. You don't have to take off the skin. Some people don't like it. I personally really enjoy it. It's full of tannins and adds a completely unique element to the salami. I use this finger here to guide the knife. So the knife is touching that finger and I'm moving my finger backwards and forwards to control where the knife is. I want to keep this finger and this finger away from this. So just try and make nice big incisions like that. Pop your salami on a little plate, just like that. We'll come back to it later. This is our XO sauce that we make at Wilson's. It's a Chinese sauce. It was invented in the 70s and named after a brandy to give it some street cred. It's basically a blend of charcuterie and dried shellfish. I discovered it in one of my favourite restaurants in Bristol. We make ours using dried scallop trims, sometimes lobster, and the trimmings from our own charcuterie. So our salamis, the little end bits, we keep until we have enough, blend them with some dried scallops, cook them out with loads of ginger and fennel seeds, and we braise it for about 2 days, and you get this, which is like an umami bomb. It's utterly delicious, and we're just gonna caramelize it again back in that pork fat and make a little sauce which we can finish our pork chop with. Take the pan that you cooked your pork in, it's full of all those lovely pork juices. Get yourself a wooden spoon or a spatula if you can find one. Put it on a very low heat, you don't want it too high because it will burn. Scrape the bag back. Make an incision and then pop the XO sauce into the pan with all the pork juices. Just like that. When you're left with it like that, don't throw it away. It took me bloody days to make, so give it another scrape. Big things like this that you're taught as a young chef, not wasting anything. It's so important. I remember getting screamed at, rightly so, for not making sure I got everything out the bag. And just give a little mix. Straight away you can smell that, all the ginger and garlic and fennel. Pop it on the heat and just let it start to crackle and fizz a bit. Our water's boiling nicely here. We're going to need that in a minute. I'm just going to check my carrots, make sure I haven't absolutely knackered them. Whoa, they're looking awesome. Just check, always check the biggest one. You're looking for, oh, we're nearly there. Not too much resistance. I'm going to give them another 3 minutes. So XO sauce, he's cracking on nicely. Starting to darken up. That smell's getting richer and deeper. Just make sure you don't burn it. It's so sad when you burn an XO sauce, and it will burn. So constant attention, constant love. And I'm gonna say, oh, yes. Yeah, he's pretty much ready to go. Take him off to one side, let him chill out for a bit. We'll come back to that guy once we've smashed into our pork chop. We're just gonna check our beautiful pork chop. He's had 10 minutes, I reckon. Careful when you take it out, because if it falls and splashes, you will get burnt. And that's not fun for anybody. So have a little feel. I'm using this metal knife and I'm sticking it right into the middle, leaving it for a second. I'm going to test how hot it is. You want it just to be warm in the middle. Once it's warm in the middle, we can rest it out, okay? So, oh, yeah. I'm going to just give it 2 more minutes. But that's really quite lovely. Right, next we are going to do our carrots. So, over here, we've got this oil made with smoked paprika, fennel seeds, and langoustine bones. Pop it over there. We're gonna grab out our carrots. Make sure always make sure you've got a nice dry tea towel. I think most chefs learn very quickly how dangerous wet tea towels are. Right, pop the carrots onto a chopping board whilst they're still hot. Woo! And then we're just gonna cut them down in a nice way and dress them with this langoustine oil while they're still hot. So literally with the carrots, all I'm going to do, take a nice bit like that. We're leaving the skin on. I love skin. It's delicious. As long as you oil it properly, it's not too tough. And if the carrots are fresh, the skin won't be tough and difficult to eat. If they've been in cold storage for 6 months, which, some rubbish carrots are, it won't be nice. So always try and buy carrots with the tops on. It's a great way of telling how fresh the carrots are. Take a lemon and give them a good knock with it. Don't be shy with lemon juice. This dish is really, really full of umami. You've got salty salami, you've got incredibly savoury XO sauce. You want a bit of acidity, and lemons, I'm completely farm to table. I believe in, using as many products from our own sort of food system as possible. I'm struggling to find a replacement for lemons. I really am. But, if anyone has any ideas, let me know. So, lemon, in we go. Good amount. Give them a move round. I'm just going to pop the top of the bag off. Give it a good hit of this lovely oil. If you've got any left over, lucky you, you can make a mayonnaise with it. It'll be superb. Give it a nice dress through. Gonna just roughly chop the dill down that you've got. This is from our farm. We picked it this morning. Bash it through. Don't worry about making it pretty. It is pretty. By default, it's a lovely ingredient. Straight in there. Beautiful toss through. Just leave that somewhere warm. Right, pork chop. He's done. Bring him out of the oven. Let him rest. Make sure you're happy with the temperature. You want it to be nice and warm in the middle. I'm touching it to my lip. It's an incredibly sensitive part of your body. Really good for feeling temperature, because if your hands have been touching things, they'll hold the heat. Amazing, 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 amazing. So I want him to rest for at least 10 minutes. Please, 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 don't underestimate how important resting is. If we're, not resting something, it's not going to finish cooking properly. So in the same tray, there's excess pork fat. Add a bit of it to your XO sauce. And let him chill out for at least 10 minutes. So guys, next we're just going to heat up some of our Langoustine bisque. Pour it in there. Oh, this has got dairy in it, a mirepoix, langoustine heads, and then fennel seeds and black pepper once again. So don't overfill your pan. That's about all you want. It will all become clear in a minute, okay? Pop it on a gentle heat, not too high. And then we want to add a good amount of butter. So about that. All right, guys, so this is the chefy part of the dish. We're gonna stuff these amazing wavy mustard leaves with this mousse made from the loin of the pork and chopped langoustine tails, okay? So we're gonna just quickly blanch these leaves so they're supple and then fill them with this mousse. So all I want you to do, pop the leaves in the steamer and count to 10. Chicken. Right, sorry about that, a cat just attacked my chickens. So the leaves are now still really, really, really fresh, but they're malleable. So you want to lay them out like that, just like that, and they're ready to go. So I've separated in the bag the mousse into 2 separate piles. And I'm just going to snip the bag off and use the bag to squeeze the mousse into my leaf. Poor chicken. Literally squeeze half the mousse into one leaf. Don't worry about getting it all smart in there at the minute. And the other half into the next one, okay? Please make sure this is always kept cold in the fridge, yeah? It's got raw langoustine and raw pork. So now with a hot spoon, dip it in the water and just help that spread your mousse out. There we go. Trying to keep it all in the central part of the leaf. Okay, just like that. Then all we're going to do is fold the leaf over. Make sure the mousse is nicely dissipated across the leaf. Trim off any end bits that don't look very nice. One like that. And we're going to pop those to one side and we're going to steam them in a minute. Right, I'm just going to pop these in the steamer nicely, but I'm not going to steam them till everything else is ready to go because this is the last bit of the dish that we need to assemble, okay? So now we're going to finish off our langoustine bisque over here. The butter's almost totally melted in. It's not been going too hard. And this is where you've got to be a little bit careful because you can cover yourself in hot soup, which is never fun, okay? So this is a great way of aerating sauces, fluffing them up and getting a little bit of, dare I say, a cappuccino on top. So blender on the lowest possible setting. Then just pulse the bisque. And if you can see there, what I'm doing is I'm slowly changing the angle of the blender so it starts to froth up like this. Perfect. Now let's just have a taste, make sure we're happy with it. That's delicious. I just want a little bit of acidity, so I don't know, a few drops of lemon juice in there. Taste again, make sure you're happy, make sure it's delicious, yeah? That is delicious, right. Cool. Keep that to one side and we'll just froth it up right at the end just before we send all the plates out, okay? Now our pork chop is ready to carve, okay? He's had a good 10 minutes resting. Made sure I've got a plate which I'm going to present the pork chop on, staying warm. You don't want to put it on a cold plate because that'll make the pork chop cold. So keep that warm and I'll show you how to carve it. So take him out. Should be a nice amount of juice in the bottom of the pan. And we've got 2 calves to make before we start slicing into it. First slice I want you to do is I want you to take the skin off as close to the fat as you can. I'm not one to throw fat away, so take the skin off like that. There you go. And pop that down. The next stage is the same with the bone. So you've got a rib here and then the T-bone there. So we're going to go through like that and along the bottom like that. Okay, so you've got 3 pieces, right? So next we are going to carve our pork chop and kind of reassemble it, put it on the plate, and then we're ready to finish steaming everything, okay? So move the bone to one side. With your knife, take nice long slices like that. Still got loads of moisture in there, which is exactly what you want. Now pop the bone back to where it was, the skin back to where it was. Slide your knife underneath the whole kit and caboodle without dropping it. Get it on your warm plate. You should have a pork chop that looks like that. So next we're just going to sauce the pork with the XO. We want it all to sort of mix together and amalgamate and the pork juices and the XO to become friends. So quite liberally over the top, get the XO, try and spread it out nicely like that. and make sure it's all mixed in real good. Okay, we're just gonna keep that somewhere warm now. So our last job, we're just gonna steam these wicked mustard leaves, rolling boil, lid on top. It'll take about between 4 to 5 minutes. So you wanna make sure this is cooked, okay? Make sure your langoustine bisque is hot, your pork's hot, your salami's sliced, your carrots are there. Once these are steamed, we're ready to dress all the plates. So this is it, guys. You've got your stunning saddleback pork chop roasted with XO sauce, our own salami with fennel seeds, mustard leaf stuffed with a pork and langoustine mousse, finished off with a langoustine bisque, and over here you've got some carrots cooked in langoustine oil, finished with dill. I really hope you enjoy it, and thanks again for your support.